that I need to warn you before I started this book of Enoch. So hopefully it's interesting. If it's not, we'll scrap it. It might be some crying. Is that what you're saying, Spirit? I bawled my eyes out the first time I listened to this. So we'll see if it's the same again tonight. I don't think I'm going to put anything on screen. I'm just going to kind of start the video and we can just kind of sit with the audio for it. And I might change it where I put the spirit talker on the camera. So instead of you guys seeing me, you can see just what that's saying while the audio is playing. So, but we'll just kind of play it by ear and see how active or inactive it goes as it starts. So let's do this. Here we go. The Book of Enoch with Spirit Talker. Oh no, the ad's up again. I'm sorry for the ad. Let's see if we can just mute this and go. There we go. And you guys don't have to hear that.
With his hosts, and appear in the strength of his power from heaven, and all will fear, and the watchers will tremble, and great fear and terror will seize them to the ends of the earth. And the exalted mountains will be shaken, and the high hills will be lowered, and will melt like wax before the flame. And the earth will be submerged, and everything that is on the earth will be destroyed. And there will be a judgment upon everything, and upon all the just. But to the just he will give peace, and will protect the chosen, and mercy will abide over them, and they will all be gods, and will be prosperous and blessed, and the light of God will shine for them. And behold, he comes with myriads of the holy to pass judgment upon them, and will destroy the impious, and will call to account all flesh for everything the sinners and the impious have done and committed against him. Chapter 2. I observed everything that took place in the heavens, how the luminaries which are in the heavens do not depart from their paths, that each one rises and sets in order, each in its time.
How come?
And they do not depart from their laws. See the earth and observe the things that are done on it, from the first to the last, how no work of God is irregular in appearing. See the summer and the winter, how then the
Why do you want me to smoke?
Is full of water, and clouds and dew, and rain rest over it. Chapter 3. I observed and saw how then all the trees appeared as if withered, and all their leaves are shaken off, except 14 trees, whose leaves are not shaken off, but which abide with the old from 2 to 3 years, till the new come. Chapter 4. And again I observed the days of summer, how the sun is then above it, opposite to it, but ye seek cool and shady places on account of the heat of the sun. And the earth also burns with fervent heat, but ye cannot step on the earth, or on a rock because of their heat. Chapter 5. I observed how the trees cover themselves with the green of the leaves and bear fruit. But observe ye all this, and learn how he who lives forever has made all these for you, how his works are before him in every year that comes, and all his works serve him and are not changed. But as God has ordained, so everything takes place. And
all of the complex systems that exist, like your respiratory system, you breathe in oxygen and it interacts with your alveoli that are in your lungs and brings oxygen to your blood, and your blood pumps that through your body. That's what they're talking about, is those complex systems that are, it's amazing how kids are formed, how you can make a little mini version of yourself that runs around in this world. It's the vastness of the universe. There's so much to look at that you can wonder at, and you don't have to point to God if you don't want to, but I choose to approach my faith more like an infant and question the universe and try and create plausible ways that the map fits together rather than just saying, oh, we don't know this part of the map, so I'm not going to try and map that out at all. I feel like that's what kind of exploring with your faith is all about. So, and you guys probably will have different books than the books that I'm interested in. So I hope this just opens you guys up to, if you read the Bible regularly, you can go through the Apocrypha texts that the Catholic Church took out from the Bible in the 1600s with the Burning Crusades. Gnostics were very about the Apocrypha, and I think it caused a division in the church, and that was the whole, like, the Salem witch trials and everything that came with that. There was a lot that came with that. So, and that was kind of like an attack on the spirituality because that Catholic Church wanted to hold on to their power that they had, being the richest organization in the world.
Wind.
Yeah, they could solve pretty much every problem in the world, but they care about worldly relics more than human souls. That makes the demons smile.
You've been here before.
Yes, I have. Deja vu. No, I'm not a big fan of the Catholic Church, as you may find out as we go. I feel like the same people that were in charge of kind of the Burning Crusades and
Witchcraft.
doing that stuff to, yeah, witches. Doing that stuff to witches and people that they thought were evil, if they were natural healers or something like that. I think a lot of the Buddhists would have been burned as witches. Definitely on the eastern side of things, if they had a similar type sweep through their nation, shall we say.
See how the seas and the rivers together accomplish their work. But ye have not persevered, and have not done the commandment of the Lord, but have transgressed, and have slandered his greatness with high and hard words from your unclean mouths. Ye hard-hearted, ye will have no peace, and therefore ye will curse your days, and the years of your lives perish. The everlasting curse will increase, and ye will receive no mercy. On that day ye will give away your peace for an everlasting curse to all the just, and they will ever curse you as sinners, you together with the sinners. But for the chosen there will be light and joy and peace, and they will inherit the earth. But for you, the impious, there will be a curse.
Vortex?
And then also wisdom will be given to the chosen, and they will all live and not continue to sin, neither through wickedness nor through pride.
Intuition.
But they in whom there is wisdom will be humble without continuing to sin.
Wise, not
and
intelligent.
They will not
wise.
be punished all the
There's a
days of their
difference.
lives.
There is a difference
and
between
will not
wise
die through plagues
and
or
intelligent.
judgments of wrath. But the number of the days of their lives will be completed, and their lives, and the years of their joy will be many, everlasting happiness and peace for all the days of their lives. Section 2, Chapter 6. And it came to pass, after the children of men had increased in those days, beautiful and comely daughters were born to them. And the angels, the sons of the heavens, saw and lusted after them, and said one to another, Behold, we will choose for ourselves wives from among the children of men, and will beget for ourselves children. And Semyaza, who was their leader, said to them, I fear that perhaps ye will not be willing to do this deed, and I alone shall suffer for this great
Manifest.
sin. Then all...
This is the story. So, excuse me. Manifest. This is the story of how angels decided that they were going to take themselves and put their energy into the world by mixing it with humans. I don't know how the burst worked. I don't know any of that. Um, People have asked me that before. I don't know how it works. What what resulted from God saying
Agatha.
to angels that they should not reproduce with humans is giants. And it will talk as we continue to go through
It's
this.
my happy place.
It's your happy place. We will talk about God regretting that the giants ever existed in this. And a lot of people, the humans were wicked back then. The humans were wicked, so that's why God had to wipe every flood. Some people don't even think it's a flood. I do think it was a flood. I think it was something like a meteor impact or something like that. That's why you see the Marianas Trench the way you do, where I feel like the impact actually like kind of coupled and split things, and that's why we see that. But regardless of what it is, according to the book of Enoch, which Enoch was like Noah's great great grandfather, it says in the Bible that Enoch walked with God. That's what kind of drew me to this book in the first place. But according to the book of Enoch, it says that the flood was sent to destroy the giants. And it probably didn't destroy all of the giants, but it probably just destroyed a vast majority of the giants. And then Noah and all the animals kind of got out of the ark, and it was kind of a reset. But the giants you'll hear about in this text, the 200 angels and the watchers,
Old times.
the watchers were kind of like the leaders of back then. Yeah, very old times. Watchers were kind of like the leader angels, or like the room leader angels. You'll hear about as the story kind of unfolds, but they and how to make like bangles and how to do agriculture according to the book of Enoch, and they taught them how to make weapons and a bunch of stuff. So, kind of teaching men about subconscious beauty too, how to make jewelry and all sorts of stuff and art and how to appreciate it and
Dorothy.
all that subconscious that kind of we're not in Kansas anymore. All the subconscious that comes with the art, all the beauty and the dark art that comes with it, but also the light side of the art.
I'm only 6.
You have people like Beethoven that would play piano so beautifully that they could bring people into the church. You have that kind of nature of art that allows you to be expressive on both sides of the extreme, and the dark can invoke emotions that are just between still a similar type of reaction, I would say, if you're subconscious between the two. So it's just awe of what you're looking at, depending on what you're looking at. We used to make really cool stuff in the churches that would, as a construction worker, I really want to go to Europe and look at some of the architecture of the old churches.
Bad entities here.
They actually cared. They put the craft into their work, and they made something that was absolutely stunning. Stained glass is beautiful. That stuff is amazing. So we'll keep going here, but I think that was the tangent that I wanted to just hit on really quick before we kind of keep going in. This is gonna be it's a little bit of a long one, so bear with it.
All answered him and said, we all swear an oath and bind ourselves mutually by a curse that we will not give up this plan, but will make this plan a deed. Then they all swore together and bound themselves mutually by a curse, and together they were 200. And they descended on Ardis, which is the summit of Mount Hermon, and they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn on it and bound themselves mutually by a curse.
No, not
And
here.
these are the names of their leaders: Semyaza, who was their leader, Urakebaramiel, Akabiel, Tamiel, Ramuel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Saraquajal, Aziel, Armers, Patral, Anani, Zekebe, Samasviel, Sartiel, Turiel, Jomjael, Arizal. These are the leaders of the 200 angels,
18.
and the others
I was
all were
wrong.
with
18,
them.
not 10.
Chapter 7. And they themselves wives, and each
Smith.
chose for himself one, and they began to go into them, and mixed with them, and taught them charms and conjurations, and made them acquainted with the cutting of roots and woods. And they became pregnant, and brought forth great giants whose stature was 3,000 ells. These devoured all the acquisitions of mankind, till men were unable to sustain themselves. And the giants turned themselves against mankind in order to devour them. And they began to sin against the birds and the beasts, and against the creeping things, and the fish, and devoured their flesh among themselves, and drank the blood thereof. Then the earth complained of the unjust
The earth.
ones. Chapter 8. And Azazel taught mankind to make swords and knives and shields and coats of mail, and taught them to see what was behind them, and their works of art,
We fight the
History.
darkness.
bracelets
And
and
art.
ornaments, and the usage of rouge, and the
Makeup.
beautifying of the eyebrows, and the dearest and choicest stones, and all coloring substances, and the metals of the earth. And there was great wickedness, and much fornication, and they sinned, and all their ways were corrupt. Amezerach taught all the conjurers and root cutters, Armoros, the loosening of conjurations, Barakal, the astrologers, Kokabel, the signs, and Temael taught astrology, and Azradale taught the course of the moon. And in the destruction of mankind they cried aloud, and their voices reached heaven. Chapter 9. Then Michael and Gabriel
Should know
and
those names.
Surjan and Urajan
Surjan
looked down
and
from
Urajan.
heaven and saw the great amount of blood which had been spilled on the earth, and all the wickedness had been
Archangel.
committed
Williams.
over the earth. And they said to one another, the empty
Robin
earth
Williams?
re-echoes
We
the
fought.
sound
We fight the
of their
darkness,
cries
Williams.
up to the gates of heaven.
Oh,
And
my
now
archangels.
to you, O ye holy ones of heaven, cry the souls of men, saying, secure us judgment before the Most High. And they spoke to their Lord, to the King, O Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings. The throne of
The
thy
OG,
majesty is
original
among all
God.
the generations of the world, and thy name, holy and glorious, among all the generations of the world. Thou art blessed and praised. Thou hast made all things, and all power is with thee.
Amen.
All things are open before thee and uncovered, and thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. See
Tradition.
then what
Tradition.
Azazel has
Amen.
done, how he has taught all wickedness on the earth, and has revealed the secrets of the world, which were prepared in the heavens.
It's their
And
tradition.
Samyaza,
They
to
passed
whom
it to the
thou
humans.
hast
Is that what
given
you're
the
saying?
power to be chief of his associates, has made known conjurations. And they have gone together to the daughters of men, and had slept with them, with those women, and have defiled themselves, and have revealed to them these sins. And the women have brought forth giants, and thereby the whole earth has been filled with blood and wickedness. And now, behold, the souls which have died cry and lament to the gates of heaven, and their groans ascend, and they are not able to escape from the wickedness which is committed on earth. And thou knowest everything before it comes to pass, and thou knowest this and their circumstances, and yet thou dost not speak to us. What shall we therefore do
Concentrate.
in regard to this?
I am sorry.
Chapter 10. Then the Most High, the Great and Holy One, spoke and sent Arsalaldir to the son of Lamech, and said to him, tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end which is to come. for the whole earth will be destroyed, and the water
Jeffrey.
of the deluge is about to come over the whole earth, and what is upon it will be destroyed. And now
This was
it
before the
struck
flood.
him that he may escape, and his seed remain on the whole earth. And again the Lord spoke to Raphael,
The archangel.
bind Azazel hand and foot, and put him in the darkness.
Sarah.
Make an opening in the desert, which is Dudael, and put him there, and lay upon him rough and pointed rocks, and cover him with darkness, that he may remain there forever, and cover his face, that he may not see the light. And on the great day of judgment he will be cast into the fire, and heal the earth, which the angels have defiled, and announce the healing of the earth, that I will heal it, and that not all the sons of
Help
men
me.
shall be destroyed through the mystery of all the things which the watchers have spoken, and have taught their sons. And the whole earth was defiled through the example of deeds of Azazel. To him ascribe all the sins. And God said to Gabriel, go against the bastards, and those cast off against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication, and the children of the watchers from among men. Lead them out, and let them loose, that they may destroy each other by murder, for their days shall not be long. And they will all supplicate thee, but their fathers will secure nothing for them, although they
So you've seen this before. A lot of people will talk about this, and this is kind of just something that I just briefly want to touch on. But it's kind of similar to like the Pharaoh story where it talks about God hardening Pharaoh's heart. It's a nature that the entities already had in place. It's enhanced, sure, but they had that nature to them before, so it's just enhancing that nature that's already there. So it's not really like God taking away their will, or in this case for the giants, he's basically taking their bloodlust and their gluttony for destruction and turning it into something that eventually turns on themselves for how they
Hello and
acted.
welcome.
Hello and welcome to the Karma Show. That's how karma works. That's why you want to treat people fairly and nicely, because it does come back to you. You're seeing now, here in this story. And in the Old Testament, I think it still happens in this life too. Bad things can happen to good people. That is true. The shadow and demons can latch onto people and really give them a tough time in life. It makes them stronger, for sure. There is a constant. This life, see if they say that there's an afterlife tonight or not. Once you get to the afterlife, if you've been only about this world, then there's not. I mean, you're still kind of in heaven, but it's all about being part of a community more than like.
Tessa.
In my opinion, we don't need to have anyone that has over $1 billion. I mean, up to $1 billion, sure, but anything over $1 billion should just be like you make a nonprofit and just invest all the extra money into that and not give it to the government, because the government just wastes money. Don't tax the money, just let private do it.
expect an everlasting life, that each one of them will live 500 years.
Find my body.
And God said to Michael, announce to Semyaza and to the others who are with him, who have bound themselves to women, to be destroyed with them. Shall have slain one another, and they shall have seen the destruction of their beloved ones. Bind them under the hills of the earth for 70 generations, till the day of their judgment and of their end.
So they're buried somewhere in the earth.
And in those days they will be led to the abyss of fire, in torture and in prison. They will be locked for all eternity. And then he will burn and be destroyed. They will be burned together from now on to the end of all generations, and destroy all souls of lust and the children of the watchers, because they have oppressed mankind. Destroy all oppression from the face of the earth, and all wicked deeds shall cease, and the plant of justice and righteousness shall appear. And
This is an answer as well to the question of why do bad things happen? Why does God if why does God let bad things happen? Genesis, did God even make the tree? Why not just not make the tree in the first place? We can have free will for everything else that we have in life, and we wouldn't have even known that we were missing that part of our life. But God put that tree that we weren't supposed to eat until the time had passed that we should eat that because the tree was made to be eaten at some point in time. It was just when was that point in time going to manifest? And then what was going to happen? What if Adam and Eve, instead of hiding from God after they ate the fruit, what if Adam and Eve went to God and said, God, you said that we would die if we ate this fruit. The snake said we wouldn't die. We didn't die, but we are ashamed now. And then God would have told them, you have to die in your spirit if you eat that fruit, which is to die in Christ. Once you eat the fruit, that's the only option. Comes with eating. What comes with I sink your battleship. What comes with eating the fruit is the shadow and the light, and being able to discern and decide between the two. You don't only have the light anymore. Now you can recognize the art and everything. What the book of Enoch is talking about right now, that was the downfall of man, all the art and all the creativity and everything that came with that, the signs and wonders, conjuration, etc., how they built the pyramids, we'll figure out someday. But it could be that they had a little bit of help from angels.
The loft.
The loft. I don't know what that means. But when I started looking at Genesis, it took me like a year to come to the book of Enoch because I was at a place with God where my grandma was. Don't cry. Talking to my mom like a week ago about my grandma. You guys are buttheads. The God of Job isn't her God. And it's understandable. Why would God let someone like Job suffer and let other people on earth say bad things are happening to him? He must be into bad stuff. Job's got to be he's working for Satan. He did something to piss God off. All these bad things are happening to him. Why is this happening to him? He did something. You had to have done something. So they call in expert after expert, and no one can figure it out. And then one day, it just changes. But the end of Job is interesting. Maybe we'll do this week before. So I'll do that because I'm going to upload all these videos kind of as I'm on vacation. I'm just going to time them out and let them roll.
What are you doing?
We'll see what we do. But they had to have bet something. What God and Satan bet that Job would never fall away from God? I don't know what that is. I wonder what it is sometimes. Because there had to be something that the devil bet with God that was like, I could torture this guy for long enough that he'll eventually get mad at you.
Abigail.
And he 65 years of his life. And then it changed. And then he got to enjoy the benefits of everything. But before that, his faith was tested by everyone around him telling him shadow that tests you. If you have a very strong... Oh, sorry. Knocked you guys down. If you have a very strong faith, expect to be tested. The devil doesn't test people that have no faith. Why would the devil waste his time with that? There's no fun in that game. The fun for the devil is in making you fall. Look, you didn't have enough faith. Gotcha. That's the game. Try to do it with God, with Job, but God knew. When you play against someone who's outside of time, it's a silly way to wager bets, but some people, they're going to play the game that way.
Deeds will become a blessing. Justice and righteousness will be planted in Job.
I just want you guys to notice as well, there is no Lucifer or anything that is mentioned so far. Keep that in mind.
Forever. Then all the just will bend the knee, and they will
There.
remain alive till they beget 1,000 children, and they will complete all the days of their youth and their Sabbath in peace. And in those days the whole earth will be worked in justice, and all
True.
will be planted with trees, and will be full of blessings, and all the trees of desire will be planted on it will bear fruit in abundance, and of all the seeds sown on it, one measure will bear 10,000.
The interesting part of this parable or story, because the book of Enoch is like a parable, it's one of the, depending on how you view the Bible itself, it's one of the very first books that is written in parabolic form, the same form that Jesus used, the same form that you see in Psalms, Song of Solomon, Proverbs, Job, all of those books that are known as the more very wise books. You see that in more, because the stories can be, it's the same where the tarot ties in for what I've started kind of building for the tarot cards, where it's archetypes of manifestations across the timeline, repeats in that pattern energy. That's where the Buddhism comes in. That same spirit manifesting itself in different ways based on nature plus nurture. And just because you have a bad nurture, if you have a good nature, you can overcome a bad nurture. But nurture does play an impact still. Where the better your nurture is, the more really be yourself. All right, here we go.
1,000, and one measure of olives will make 10 presses of oil. And cleanse thou the earth of all oppression, and all injustice, and all sin, and all wickedness, and all uncleanness, which are produced on the earth, eradicate them from the earth. And all the children of men shall become just, and all the nations shall worship me as God, and bless, and all will worship me. And the earth will be cleansed of all corruption, and all sin, and all the flood upon it from generation to generation to eternity. Chapter 11. And in those days
the first writing about the flood. So this is where you come into how long it took to build that ark.
will open the storerooms of blessings which are in heaven, in order to bring them down upon the earth, upon the deeds and labor of the children of men. Peace and rectitude will become associates in all the days of the world, and in all generations of the world.
Gash.
That's where the promise or the phrase as above so below. The book of Enoch is like an alternative to Revelations. So it's still, I mean, you're hearing where there's judgment on the earth, but the chosen people at this end time are not touched by God, and they live with God forever. That's the story of the book of Enoch. There are two possible endings to everything. And the free will is what how that's played out when you're beyond time. Think of it this way. We'll go into time.
Did you hear that?
We're just gonna go into time very briefly. I promise. It's not gonna be. We're not gonna do a long one. But think about it this way. God sees. He doesn't exist in time with us. So God sees your creation and your storyline and the ending before everything is made. But when that's made, he sees the nature of everything and can enhance your nature as well. So what you decide is your nature, God can do things in that life to amplify certain pieces of that nature. So that's how God works in our lives, where you are an active agent, but there's also things around you that can help lead you in a certain direction. So yes, God can want you to, and you can choose to not listen to that as well and go your own way. That doesn't end up as well for people, but you totally can do that. You have the free will to be able to do that, and that's what the gift of the tree was. You have the free will, the freedom of choice. People don't like free will because miracles are, we don't see them like we used to, like what the Bible writes about. People get healed and stuff. So in a way, yes, we have miracles, but nothing that's like a scientific, this is what happened, and this is what happened, and this is why that miracle happened. Here's all your eyewitness testimony and everything that happened with it. We don't have that as much. And if it does exist,
Associate.
then it's being hidden from us, is what I would say. And I know the CIA has a whole Bible on manifestation and all the rest of that they don't share with the public because they think that people aren't smart enough to have that.
Living.
But there is something to the way you think. We didn't really talk about this, and this will be the last piece that I talk on, and then I'll shut up for a while and we can just play the video. But the nocebo and the placebo effect are both scientifically proven. It proves free will. We go to great lengths in studying medicine to make sure that the doctors administering the medicine and the patients don't know what they're taking. Because if either one of them knows, they can give suggestive and conscious index clues when they're either what's going on, that alert person that they either have the sugar that comes into their brain, and then that starts placing hold on what they're thinking. And
My family is here.
you have the placebo, which gives you roughly a plus 25% outcome. And then you have the nocebo effect, which the nocebo effect is the inverse. It's a minus 25% from zero outcome on things. And that's kind of like an average percentage because it's harder to kind of quantify that. I would say it's between 20 and 30 is kind of like a reliable number, a third roughly, that you're kind of at. But they definitely go to great lengths in the scientific method to counteract the will part of it, so it becomes, if that makes sense. Pause it too much because this is a 4-hour video. Uh-oh.
Rosemary.
Section 3,
Rosemary.
Chapter 12. And previous to all these things, Enoch was hidden, and not one of the children of men knew where he was hidden, and where he was, and what had become
Doreen.
of him. And all his deeds were with the holy ones, and with the watchers in his days.
Holy ones and watchers, both.
Enoch,
Duality.
was praising the great Lord and the King of the world. Called to me Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, thou scribe of justice, go, announce to the watchers of heaven, who have left the high heaven and the holy eternal
Thompson.
place, and have contaminated them, and are contaminated in great contamination upon the earth, but upon earth they shall see the murder of their beloved, and they will lament over the destruction of their children, and will see, but mercy and peace will not be unto them. Chapter 18. And Enoch, departing, said to Azazel, Thou wilt have no peace, a great condemnation has come upon thee, and he will bind thee, and alleviation and intercession and mercy will not be unto thee. Has taught oppression, and because of all the deeds of abuse, sin, which thou hast showed to the children of men. And then going, I spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid of them. And they asked me to write a memorial petition for them, that they thereby might attain forgiveness, and to carry their memorial petition before God into heaven. For they could not, from now on, speak with him, nor could they raise their eyes towards heaven from shame on account of their sins for which they were being punished.
So they could no longer talk to God. That was a separation. That's what people think hell is. Let me correct that. That's what I think hell is. I don't think hell is some fiery pit. It's an existence away from God. There isn't the grace of God there. It is a different kind of existence. It's a different plane of existence. There are different rules there than what you have in heaven.
Maybe.
And some people decide to live in it, and some people decide to live in heaven. Think about it this way. If you went in front of God, and God loved you so much that he sent his son to die for you, after you die, if you met God and said, God, I didn't have Jesus in my life, but I can clearly see that you are real and Jesus is next to you, and I want to come live with you in heaven, can I please have the forgiveness of Jesus over my life and come live in heaven for the rest of my days? I think a God that would manifest Jesus to die and be killed by the demons of this world just to pay for sins of us that were corrupted by the angels and demons that were a creation from God. Think about it. That's what the book of Enoch says. We don't have to just read the Bible and just be about the Bible, but God still created Lucifer and Satan in the Bible. Different than the Watchers.
Always.
Although I think Satan could have also been some of the Watchers, because Satan is technically 7 entities according to beliefs, I guess. Characteristics of the nature. 7 pieces to it. And then Lucifer is a separate being from that. So you have 8 total, but Lucifer and then the 7 of Satan. And then the rest of hell, which are, there's clearly more than that, but key players, that's what we're focusing on. The Archfiends, that's what they call themselves, apparently, on the little app. They used to call them Archdemons, but Archfiends. Alright, let's do it.
And prayed with reference to their souls.
He prayed
and
over
for
them,
each of their deeds,
like I do for
and
spirits
for
to
that
come in.
which they that they thereby. And going, I sat down near the waters of Dan, which is to the right of the evening side of Hermon, and read their memorial petition till I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, and visions fell upon me, and I saw the vision of chastisement, to show to the sons of heaven, and to upbraid them. And having become awake, I went to them, and they were all sitting assembled, lamenting at Ublegiel, which is between the Lebanon and the Seneseer, with their faces covered. And I related before them all the visions that I had seen in my sleep, and commenced to speak those
All
words
is
of
well.
justice, and to upbraid the watchmen of heaven. chapter 14.
I had one eye.
This writing is
Horace?
the word of justice and the admonition of the watchers who are from eternity, as the Holy and Great One commanded it in this vision. I saw in my sleep what I now will relate with a tongue of flesh, and with my breath, which the Great One has given to the mouth of men, that they might converse with it and understand it in their hearts. As he has created and given to men the power to understand the word of knowledge, thus also he has created me and given me the power to upbraid the watchers, the sons of heaven.
To
I
judge
have
them,
written
basically.
your petition, and in my vision it appeared to me thus, that your
He
petition
was judging
will
the
not be
angels,
granted
Enoch
in all
was,
the days of the
according to
world,
this.
and that judgment has been passed over you, and nothing will you. And from now on ye will not ascend into heaven all eternity, and upon earth it has been decreed, they shall bind you for all the days of the world. You will have seen the destruction of your beloved children, and ye will not be able to possess them, but they shall fall before you by the sword. Your petition for them will not be granted
My
unto
name
you,
is Irene.
nor the one for yourselves. And while ye are weeping and praying, speak a single word from the writing which I have written. And the vision appeared to me thus: Behold, clouds in the vision invited me, and a fog invited me,
Dirty.
and the course of the stars and lightning drove and pressed me, and the winds in the vision gave me wings and drove me, and they lifted me up into heaven, and I went till I approached near a wall which was built of crystals, and a tongue of fire surrounded it, and it began to call.
Crystals. We'll talk about the vibratory nature of crystals. And in the book of Enoch, heaven is made out of a crystalline structure.
Who are you?
My name is Zach. Who are you?
Caused me to fear, and I went into the tongue of fire and approached near
Demonstrate.
to a large house, which was built of crystals.
Demonstrate what?
And the walls of this house were like a floor inlaid with crystals, and the
A
groundwork
vision?
was of crystals. The ceiling was like the course of the stars, and of the lightning, and cherubim of fire were between them, and their heaven was water. A flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its doors burned with fire. And I went into this house, and it was hot like fire and cold like ice, and there was nothing pleasant, and no life in it. Shaking and trembling, I fell down on my face and saw in a vision a second house, larger
A
than the
new
other.
heaven.
All those doors stood before me, and it was built with a tongue of fire, and in all things it excelled in grandeur and magnificence and size.
The
So that I
Jesus.
cannot describe to you its magnificence.
Once the
and its
Jesus
size.
forgiveness came. Because keep in mind, Enoch is writing this before Jesus has come.
And the course of the stars, and its ceiling was also a flaming fire. And I looked, saw therein a high throne. Its appearance was like the hoarfrost.
That was when
And
God
its
finally
circuit
gave us
was
grace
like a shining
for
sun
what we did.
and voices of the cherubim.
The
Under
page.
the great throne
You
came
participate.
streams
I
of
am.
flaming fire, and it was impossible to look at. And he who is great in majesty sat thereon. His garment shone more brilliantly than the sun, and was whiter than any hail. None of the angels were able to enter, nor any flesh to look upon the face of the majestic and honored one. Fire of flaming fire was around him, and a great fire stood before him, and none of those who were around him could approach him. 10,000 were before him, but he required not any holy counsel. And the holy
Gabriel.
ones who were near him
Gabriel.
did not leave day or night, nor did they depart from him. And I had so long a veil
No
upon
holy
my
counsel
face,
except for
that I
Gabriel?
trembled, and the Lord
My voice
called
is
me
heard.
with his own voice.
Your
and
voice
said
is
to me,
heard? And
Come
voices.
hither, Enoch, and to my holy one.
Hi,
word.
Gabriel.
And he caused me to arise, and I went to the door, but I bent downwards. Chapter 15. And he answered and spoke to me with his word. Hear, and fear not, Enoch, thou just man and scribe of justice. Approach hither, and hear my words. And go, say to the watchers of heaven who have sent thee, that thou shouldst petition for them. Ye should petition for men, and not men for you.
I petition
Why
for
have
them
ye
too.
left the high, holy, and everlasting heaven, and lain with women, daughter of men,
Surgery.
and taken wives unto yourselves,
Created a
and
curse
acted
among the
like the
angels.
children of earth, while ye were spiritual, holy, having eternal life, ye defiled yourselves with women, and of flesh have begotten children, and have lusted after the blood of men, and have produced flesh and blood, as they produce who die and are destroyed. Therefore I have given them wives, that they might
Sorry, I was
impregnate
thinking
them,
about Gabriel.
and children be born by them, as it is done on earth. Ye were formerly spiritual, living an eternal life without death to all the generations of the world. Therefore I have not made for you any wives, for spiritual beings have their home in heaven. And now the giants, who have been begotten from body and flesh, will be called evil spirits on earth, and
Legion.
their dwelling places
That's
will
what
be
I think
upon
they
the
are.
earth. Evil spirits.
I think the legion, the legion that Jesus, when he's here, that he drives out and drives into the pigs and then sends into the ocean. That legion is the residual energy from the children of giants, that are those spirits, that are
Nancy.
those energetic patterns that show up. They can show up in stuff like the spirit tracker. That's why you don't want to mess around with stuff like that. It's not a game. It's not a, oh, let me prove that this doesn't exist and nothing's real about this. Please don't do that. Please don't. They may just ignore you because you do have to have spirits just know you're not a good person. Sometimes they'll make people that have bad karma. I mean, look at like Saul. God took a person like that, knocked him on his head, and he became a completely different person for the rest
I
of his
don't
life.
want to scare you.
You don't scare us. Feel free to talk whenever you want. So, spirits just they gravitate towards people. I don't know if it's some sort of archetype story that they gravitate towards and that they like more, or what makes them like people or not. But if you feel that presence in your life, the more spirit side, it's part of the Trinity. Christians, they sleep on it all the time, where it's God and Jesus, God and Jesus. There is no spirit side of it, and the spirit is the life of your faith. That's what makes you chase after God like a little kid, is the spirit of being that little kid chasing after God. So don't be, it's just like these videos. Don't be scared to be weird, I guess, is the best way to put it. Don't be scared to be weird. Sometimes God's calling you to be weird, and you just gotta be okay with being a weirdo.
Proceed from their bodies, because they are created from above, and first basis being from the holy watchers. They will be evil spirits upon
Unlawful.
the earth, and will be called evil
Unlawful.
spirits.
Chaotic,
But the
unlawful.
spirits of heaven have their dwelling places in heaven, and the spirits of the earth, who were born on the earth, have their dwelling places on earth. And the spirits of the giants, who cast themselves upon the clouds, will be destroyed and fall, and will battle and cause destruction on the earth, and do evil. They will take no kind of food, nor will they become thirsty, and they will be invisible. And these spirits will not rise up against the children of men and against the women, because they have proceeded from them in the days of murder and destruction. Chapter 16. And of the death of the giants, when the spirits have proceeded
Rest.
from their bodies, their flesh shall decay with us, they shall be destroyed till that day when the great judgment over all the great world shall be completed over the watchers and the impious. And
So
now
they're
to the
resting?
watchers
That's
who
what-
have
Obvious.
sent thee, that
Obviously.
thou shouldst petition for them who
Until
were
the end?
formerly in heaven, say, Ye have been in heaven, and though the secrets were not yet revealed to you, still ye knew illegitimate mysteries, and these ye have, in the hardness of your hearts, related to the women. And through these mysteries women and men increase wickedness over the earth. Tell them, therefore, ye have no peace.
No peace, bro.
Section 4.
Is that why you're a little salty saying
Chapter
obviously?
17. He took me to a place where there were images like flaming fire, and when they wished, they appeared like men. And he led me to the place of the whirlwind, and on a hill, the point of whose summit reached to heaven, I saw shining places, and the thunder at the ends thereof, in the depths thereof a bow of fire, and arrows, and their quiver, and a sword of fire, all lightning. And they took me to the so-called water of life, and to the fire of the west, which receives every setting of the sun. And I came to a river of fire, whose fire flows like water, and is emptied into a great sea which is towards the west. And I saw all the great rivers, and came to a great darkness, and went where all flesh wanders. And
We're
I saw the
apprehensive.
mountains of the black clouds
You guys
of
can talk
winter,
if you want.
and the place whither all the
It might
waters
scare
of the
people,
deep
but
flow.
you said be
And I
careful
saw
what you
the
wish for,
mouths
didn't
of
you?
all the rivers of the earth, and the mouth of the deep. Chapter 18. And I saw the repositories of all the winds, and I saw how he had ornamented all the creation, and the foundation. I saw the cornerstone of the earth, and I saw the four winds which support the earth, and the firmament of the heavens. And I saw how the winds expand the heights of the heavens, and they remain between heaven and earth, and they are pillars of heaven. And I saw the winds which turn the heavens, which lead down the course of the sun and all the stars. I saw the winds upon the earth which carry the clouds, and I saw the paths of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heavens
I
above,
had an injury.
and I proceeded towards the south, and it burns day and night, there where 7 hills of precious stones are, 3
That's the
towards
burning
the
your
east,
injury.
3 towards the south. But of those towards the east, 1 of colored stone, 1 of pearls, and 1 of antimony, and those towards the south of red stone. But the middle one reached up to heaven, like the throne of God, of alabaster, and the summit of the throne of sapphire. And I saw a burning fire, which was in all the hills. And there I saw a place beyond the great earth. There the waters collected. And I saw a great abyss in the earth, with columns of heavenly fire. And I saw among them columns of heavenly fire which fall, and are without number, either towards the height or towards the depth. I saw a place which had no firmament of heaven above it, and no foundation of earth beneath it, and no water above it, and no birds upon it. It was a void place.
This is hell.
And there I saw a terrible thing, 7 stars,
7 stars.
like great
Satan.
burning mountains, and like spirits that petitioned me. The angel said, This is the place of the consummation of heaven and earth. It is a prison for the stars of heaven, and for the host of heaven. And the stars that roll over the fire are they who have transgressed the command of God, their rising, because they did not come forth in their time. And he was
I had
enraged
one
at
eye.
them, and bound them
Horus.
till the time of the consummation of their sins in the year of the mystery. Chapter 19.
Uriel now.
And Uriel said to me, Here will stand the
Another
souls
archangel.
of those angels angels who have united themselves with women, and having assumed many different forms, have contaminated mankind, and have led them astray, so that they brought offerings to the demons as to gods,
Blood sacrifices,
namely on the
etc.
day when the great judgment, on which they will be judged, shall be consummated. And their women, having led astray the angels of heaven, will be like their friends. And I, Enoch, alone saw this vision, the ends of all, and no man has seen them as I have seen them.
No man.
Chapter 20. And these are the names of the holy angels who watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels, the angel of thunder and trembling.
One man here.
Raphael, one of the holy angels, the angel of the spirits of men.
Raphael.
Raguel, one of the holy angels, who takes vengeance on the earth and the luminaries. Michael, one of the holy angels, namely set over the best portion of men, over the people. Sarachiel, one of the holy angels, who is over the spirits of the children of men, and who induce the spirits to sin. Gabriel, one of the holy angels, who is over the serpents, and over the paradise
over the
of
serpents.
the cherubim.
I'm going to stop it right here. We're going to pause the video because this is a good kind of like intermission point. They said smoke earlier, so we'll go out and smoke, and maybe it'll be a little bit more active on the ghost talker. But the thing that I want to say before we end the video is if you're a believer in the Bible and you believe in God and you believe you're oriented,
Trust the man.
You're orienting yourself under the man, trusting in him. You can pray to archangels besides God, extra archangels. There's a reason God has given these archangels names that have meanings, things that are behind them for what they do. Gabriel being over the serpents. Gabriel's here right now as we're listening to the serpent story. Coincidences? Who knows? It's science. We'll find out over time. Maybe you'll believe, maybe you won't. This is just what we're doing. But you can pick archangels. There's more than this as well. This is like a starter list of archangels, but I know like another one of my archangels that I feel like is part of my life is Ariel. That's a more feminine archangel. But you can find that information if you search it out and use your intuition to see what you want to do. And then when you pray, you don't say, okay, well, I'm under God, so I'm just gonna only pray to my archangels. You pray to both at the same time. You utilize both at the same time. That's the manifestation. You're compounding energies of heaven and saying, energies, I'm praying right now. That's why sometimes when I pray, I'll pray to the Most High, Jesus, and all my spiritual. I call them my spiritual team, but you can call it whatever you want. Your guardian angels, your guardian spirits, whatever you want. But I tend to call it more that because I think I have some of the darker shadow spirits that are interacting with the light, with the light archangels, that because they can't directly talk to God because of this, they interact with each other. And that's like when you see me crying randomly but I'm still reading and I'm here, that's the kind of emotions. Is there's conversations going on that I can empathically feel that emotion, even though it's not mine. I can still feel it, and that's why I'll be like, you guys should pull back a little bit from my energy. That's a lot of crying. The last few days since I downloaded this has been a lot more crying than it usually is. Usually it's like maybe once a day, but now it's like 5-6 times a day that it's just like that it starts. So we're gonna stop the video there. How far are we at? We got
died a long time ago.
an hour 4 minutes. So we're gonna stop here, and then we're gonna start it again, and we'll continue in the next segment. I'm gonna reset the Spirit Talker as well before we go and chill out for a little bit. I'll be back, and we will do section 2. We might have to get through the book tomorrow. So it's good stuff. Learning is good, even if you're not a Christian. If you're part of another faith, it's good.
Associated.
It's good to associate with other faiths and learn about them. Learn why they think certain things. Maybe it'll expose something about the nature of God in your intuition, hearing about something like that that you didn't think about from the way that you've read your own religion. So, and then you become more, like, it's very hard to move me from like that Christian Buddhist point now, because I've kind of picked up and set down so many things, kind of as I've grown. And the more you grow, the more open you kind of become in the tree, and it becomes less about like, are you sinning, are you doing bad things, and more about like, let's get as many people and as many souls as we possibly can in heaven. That's the only goal that we have. 2 from Jesus. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. I like to say it this way. Love your neighbor as if you love yourself. Because some people don't love themselves in this day and age. And it's a sad thing to say, but hurt people hurt people. And that's the truth. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Not crazy on this one, but still fun to listen to the Book of Enoch. It's a good listen. And we got to talk about some other stuff too. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Talk to you guys later.